So I recently moved to the country and I wanted to get some really clean water, so I bought this distiller. This is the Midi Classic, made by Pure Water, steam powered purity. So how this distiller works, or any distiller works, we'll take off this cap right here. Right here you have a boiling tank, okay? So water goes into this boiling tank. It boils the water. As it boils the water, just like if you were to boil water on a stove, it turns to steam, right? Well, that steam comes up and there's a coil right here and it goes through this coil. As it goes through that coil, it turns from like the steam back into water, and then it holds all that water, which is just steam converted back to water, which is distilled water, in the bottom tank here, which will hold 5 gallons of water. And then you have this little tap right here where you can fill up jugs or, yeah. So this unit will distill approximately 7 gallons per day. It will do 1 gallon every 3.5 hours. So I have this hooked directly to my water line. So as water is used from the boiling tank, more water will be put into the distiller boiling tank, and it will just keep going and going and going till this is already full, and then it will just shut off. So I'll show you how I have it connected to my water line right now. So up here I have basically a T, and it comes down here to 1/4 inch tubing, and it just basically runs across and comes here into the back of the distiller. So this tube right here, where it connects in here, it's just a push to connect fitting. It feeds into here and it goes to the boiling tank as it needs more water automatically. This tube right here is the one that comes out to the ice maker. Now this part right here is an additional part. This is a pump. So this will pump the water out, and you can hook this up to 3 different units. So you could go maybe 1 to your kitchen sink for drinking water, 1 to your ice maker, 1 to your fridge. Yeah, it can come out to 3 different things basically. So they've been making this for a very long time. I think like at least 20 years. So all the parts, if anything breaks on it, you can replace it. This is all really nice stainless steel. One thing I will mention, you want to make sure you do have a grounded outlet before you even get one of these. If not, you'll have to make one. I had to make a grounded outlet. So just keep that in mind, otherwise you can get shocked, and that ain't no fun. So I'm gonna take this apart just to get into troubleshooting type of things. So we're just gonna remove these covers. They come off really easy. There's a couple screws that hold these side panels on. Should probably unplug the unit. So this side will come off just like that. And then this side will come off just like that. So on this side here, you see the condensing coil that basically wraps around. It drains into a filter, but it just removes extra VOCs, any splash over that may happen, and it runs through into the holding tank, 5 gallon holding tank. Here's the lid for the holding tank. You just unscrew the lid like this. That slides off, and that's where all the water in the holding tank. Now in both the boiling tank and the holding tank, you'll have a float. It's a ball, and it basically floats, and as the water level goes up and down, it sends messages over to this side, and it has these little switches, which I'll show you here in a second. So the ball's one thing. As a troubleshooting thing, if your ball's full of water, you're gonna have issues, okay? I don't think that happens much. I don't know. I don't even know how old this one is, but that's just one thing that could happen, is that your balls could get full of water. But there are balls in both this one and this one. Now on this side, this is where kind of all your little switches and stuff are. So up here we have the top float for the boiler, and then we have this little switch here, and it's kind of weighted so you can see it goes up and down. Down here we have the float for the lower tank, the holding tank, and you can see it has kind of 3 little switches here. We have one all the way over here on the left, which is going to tell it, hey, I need more water. Keep distilling the water. It's going to get to middle saying, hey, I've got a little bit, and it's going to get all the way over here and that's gonna shut it off. So this boiling tank won't take on any more water, and it's saying, hey, I'm full. So that's basically the operation of that. Here we have a reset button. You just stick, it says the pencil eraser, stick it in there, boom, and you can reset it. So we'll go ahead and turn it on. You hear the water start coming in, and then watch, as the float goes up and it gets to where it needs to be, it'll shut off, and the fan will kick on and will start to heat up and distill the water. And then as water goes down, boom, it will fill back up. Now over here, as this goes off, watch, as I go all the way over, you'll hear the water stop because it's full. So that's basically what's going on there. Now the pump on the back will not activate unless this has, I think it's like 1/3 full of water, but you heard that pump kick on just slightly. But there's no running water upstairs, so it's shut off. But that's just something that I figured out. Well, it's in the directions, but it's good to know. So we'll let it keep filling up, and yeah. So up on top you have 3 switches. You have one for momentary on, raw water. You switch it like that. We have distill and then sterilize. Sterilize is something we'll cover here in just a little bit. And then we just have the power button. So over here on the side we have the boiling tank fill operation. We have the choice between manual and auto. So to clean out the boiling tank, first what I'm going to do is I'm going to drain all the water that's in there. This has probably distilled around 20 gallons or so. So to drain the boiling tank, you have a little knob back here. A quick heads up, this can be hot. So you want to turn off your machine, make sure everything is cool. The lid up here can be rather hot too. Make sure that's cool. And we'll just open it up. And it holds a lot more water than this cup, but I wanted to empty some into this cup. And just for fun, we were just gonna test to see how dirty this water is. Pop the cap, pop the lid, allow it to drain better. All right. So I got a little meter right here. Let's just test this. 9,000, 9,600, 9,800. It blanked out. It's too dirty. Don't drink that. So we'll just drain the rest of the water. So once the boiling tank is empty, we're gonna wanna add water into it so it covers the scale line. The scale line is like the buildup on the sidewalls. So I just got some water here, and we're just gonna pour it on in there till we get above the scale line. So once the water is above the scale line, we're gonna take the Lumen by Pure Water Cleaner and Descaler. We're gonna take 2 to 3 tablespoons of it. It's just a powder. I'm just gonna kinda pour 3 cups, or 3 capfuls, and pour it into here. Maybe I'll do 4. We're gonna let that basically dissolve up in there, and then we're just gonna let it sit, not power it on, let it sit for 24 hours. We're also gonna give it a little stir just to make sure it's completely dissolved and can start descaling the inside of the boiling tank. Alrighty, so it's been about 24 hours now, so we're gonna go ahead and just drain the boiling tank of the that solution we put up in there, Lumen. All right, so once we have all the Lumen drained out, it's important to rinse out this boiling tank. So I'm just gonna take some of this that we have here, some clean water, distilled, fill up this tank, and just rinse it out really, really good. I suppose it'd be more efficient or time saving if you had like a drain or something. You could get a hose to put on this and it can just drain into the drain. That's what I'll probably end up doing someday. Once you got it rinsed out, you're good to go. Put the lid back on and turn it back on and let it fill up. So initially when you first start to fill it up, the fan won't be running because this needs to be at a certain height, about halfway, for it to kick on. So ideally you want your water level to be in the boiling tank about halfway. So what I do, like I said, I got this thing used, so I fill it up to halfway, and then I'm gonna make my adjustment on my little float ball. It's just an Allen wrench, and you just basically loosen it up, and it will allow you to see how I can spin it up and down now. And then I'm gonna make it so it's barely almost touching, and that will set that water line. There we go, perfect. Now when I turn it on, since it's not sitting on there, it won't be filling, and we're good to go. The last thing I'm going to do is sterilize the unit. They recommend doing this every time you change the filter, every 4 months or however often you change the filter. We're going to drain the holding tank, and we're also going to drain the boiling tank. We're going to remove the filter from the back. There we go. All right. And if you buy this new, it comes with a 5/8 silicone tube, but I bought it used, so I just bought a silicone tube on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. But it's right here, and just slides over like this. This side's gonna come to about right there. I'm gonna cut it. And it just slides on just like that. We're gonna open up the tank, the boiling tank. So we're gonna open up the water valve and put a bucket below there just so it can catch any water that comes. We're going to switch this button here to distill, okay? And then we're gonna turn it on. Once this is completely full and the water stops filling up, the heating element will turn on, and then we'll put this lid back on and tighten it up. And then basically this thing will run without the fan. So it will just steam all the inside and clean it hopefully really, really good. That's what we're going for. So I'll turn it on. And here, fill with water. Whoops, I forgot one thing. If you do have a pump on the back, you do need to disconnect it. Okay, I have that disconnected now. And I have the elbow on it still, but I just have it kind of pointed up so the water will go here before it goes there. Oops, I forgot to hit sterilize. Okay, I put it on sterilize. The water stopped. I will put this back on, secure it down. And I will be back in 1 hour. Alright, so it's been about an hour. I'm just going to shut this off. Let this cool. I forgot to record that part, but I basically just, after it was all done steaming, I just dump all the water out. There'll be a lot more that comes out than that. Alright, the last thing I want to talk about, as this kicks on and off, I noticed my pipe started making some noises, kind of like a pop. I guess this popping noise can be common, say if you put like a humidifier in or your toilet. What it's doing, it shuts on the water quick and turns it off, on and off, on and off, and it makes a pop through the pipes. Well, there's a workaround for this, and it's right here. It just goes in line with the pipe that I have tapped in. And I'll put a link to the description in this, and this basically just absorbs the shock wave that runs through your pipes. So overall, I really like this distiller. One, because I don't have to keep filling it, it will autofill by itself. Another benefit of it autofilling by itself is when you go to clean out the boiling tank, it's not going to be nearly as bad as those ones that are only like 1 gallon at a time. those things get nasty. Like you gotta, the corrosion is crazy. Since there's always water in here, it doesn't build up like that at all. It's so much more easier to clean. And then this, I can just run it to my refrigerator, ice maker, and I'm gonna run another one up to my water faucet.